1,331, and we are live. Let's see if everything is live. Doesn't look like I'm on. Take all this down, start over again. There we are. Okay. Can you hear me? Yep. Okay. Everything is good. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming on. Pretty long day. Um, Lots of analysis, lots of legal analysis. What's happening in Richard's case, because not only are we dealing with the CID 800-page, totally first grade work from well, I want to call her crooked agent Veltri, because what this 800-page report shows is an attempt to skew, manipulate, and I would say to cover up the crimes committed against Richard, and to leave the case, not to move the case forward, not to look for Richard, not to solve the crimes, right? I'm constantly asking myself, and I think Team Find Richard Halliday, absolutely, I know that they feel the same way, is why do we even pay our taxes? Why do we even have these agencies? Why do we have these government organizations, and, on and on? They always say for our safety, right? For our safety, for our good, to help us, to serve us. And when you see reports like this, when you see activity like this from the CID, and you know that the CID, because of Tavita Nusa, because of Dirty Agent Marlon Soto being there, his conflicts of interest with the FBI Supervisory Director, Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr., with his wife that works on Fort Bliss in intelligence, Cynthia Hernandez. Marlon Soto Hernandez. And I know Hernandez is, a common name, but it's not that common. It's not that common. Hernandez Nieto, the wife, they're all they all are connected. Even with Bradford, the Lieutenant Colonel, 2nd ADCOM Richards Command, with his family ties. It, it's you're wondering what in the world. These are taxpayer funded jobs. These are taxpayer funded jobs. I think that we're not getting our money worth, or we uh, why do we even have them? Why do we even have them? Um, that's my question all the time, because they're crooked, and they're using the system. They're using our military. They're using our military system, the institution of our military, the organization of our military, the taxpayers funding trillion-dollar military, and manipulating it for their ingra- for their wealth. They're just thieves. They're just thieves. Um, Absolutely, because here I wanted to talk about Richard's the video that we just received from the El Paso Police Department. Thank you so much. That's a local government agency. See, local is good. Local is good. Even, there's always corruption because, of course, these cops that are part of this are corrupt. Not the whole thing, just and they need to address these cops that are corrupt. Clearly. Well, we should say allegedly corrupt. uh, you know, we need to put in that complaint, right? We need to put in that complaint. Um, this, there's just so many facets. And so here I wanted to talk about the video of Richard and how beautiful, absolutely beautiful. He was just so full of integrity, honor, truth, just courageous, very respectful. He just Fort Bliss finest, Fort Bliss finest soldier, and very Army strong, very Army strong. So we're very, um, it just breaks your heart. Um, it's so hard to believe what they did to him. It's just so hard to believe. It's just, I cannot even tell you when you see that and you're in charge of, Team Five Richard Halliday being in charge of Richard's investigation, being in charge of justice for Richard, right? You can't depend on the Department of Justice, which takes a lot of money. You have to be the Department of Justice, and who Richard's back. It's not going to be his command. It's not going to be the Department of the Army, who says Army strong and leave no soldier behind, and the Good Samaritan, the Medal of Honor ethos, which is, having their soldiers back, having each other's back, working in esprit de corps, as an army of one. You would think that they would actually want to live that, but no, that's not the case. We have to, and of course, being Richard's family, we always will do that, have each other's back. But you would think that this would be a broader, they would use their public affairs officer to get this in the news, to get the population behind this, to get justice for Richard, to not let one soldier suffer, but they let so many. This is an attack on our soldiers by our own generals, okay? By our own generals, because they've got investments, they've got contracts, they want to get the money, they want the big money, and they have absolutely betrayed. And it's very, very, very clear, and it's just really disheartening, and we need justice. And so I hope that you will share this message. I might not deliver it so smoothly, but please share this message that our volunteer sons and daughters are in danger by their own generals. The 44 four-star generals have betrayed us, and a lot of flag officers have betrayed us. Like Donna Martin, she was in charge of CID. Now she's IG. So in Richard's case, she is policing her, okay? And she absolutely needs to be arrested. Do you think she's going to arrest herself? Because she absolutely needs to be arrested for how she handled not only what was going on at Fort Hood, now Fort Bliss, but what is happening at Fort Bliss. And she's just really, she just needs to be stripped. It's just so criminal. It's so criminal. So, and I might not deliver this so smoothly. Um, so, all of you that are out there that have these experiences, that understand what happened to Richard, please pass on the message. And I did put up some memes today again. I'm just going to uh, keep putting up memes and memes and memes to try to fill in a gap and use a way to educate the population, because what I'm about to tell you, the breaking news, is still something that I'm trying, okay? But I understand it enough at this point that I feel like I can share it with you. And maybe some out there, especially in the El Paso area, can help me understand this better. Because we always thought that Bob Moore owned El Paso Matters, and that he had to get some funding. And because we've tried to reach him no less than 10 times, we've even reached out to his lawyers, okay? And we haven't gotten any response. Now, we're talking about a missing soldier from Fort Bliss. Uh, this is a family reaching out no less than 10 times and to the lawyers. And, you would think that he would reach back, especially because of the obstruction of justice, the interference in our son's case. We want, because he ran the stories with Leilani Hart, an unreliable source that's not just, you know, a simple unreliable source. No, she's a convicted criminal that had child pornography, that failed to report child rape in her master bedroom, that she violated a restraining order and was arrested, that she has a history of harassment, that she has a history of assault, that she has a history, um, you know, of a judge telling her she has some suspicion that she has a lot of mental illness. Um, so all of this, we could give him so much more and even more than that. And because he used her, he used Leilani Hart, who is the mother of Richard's platoon leader, Dallas Hart, who also, we are told through our intelligence, Team Find Richard Halliday's intelligence, that he went AWOL. And there's multiple reports on that one, and that there were also um, problems. Dallas Hart seemed to have a lot of problems on Fort. Okay? And it wasn't just isolated to Richard. So of course, yeah, it's bad. It's so bad. So and here Bob Moore is using Leilani Hart to interfere, to retaliate against a whistleblower in our son's case, not only a whistleblower but also a key witness in Richard's case, and he's also rubbing shoulders with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, who also targeted Richard Halliday's search and investigation. And, you know, and he doesn't want to get back with us. And that it's concerning. And we thought, okay, he owned El Paso Matters. But you know what? It's not, that's not true. He doesn't own El Paso Matters. So from our intelligence, from what we have gotten today, a group called El Paso Community Foundation. El Paso Community Foundation. That is who owns El Paso Matters. Now, we're trying to wrap our head around this, but El Paso Community Foundation, isn't that the foundation that was issuing out the money to the victims of the Walmart mass shooting through Westar Bank, who's owned? And this, we had to go back and look at how did we find this. If you go on Google or any kind of search engine, and you put in Bob Moore and who really funds Bob Moore and who funds El Paso Matters, you will find an article, and um, I can even put that article up on Find Richard Halliday. So this is not us saying this, okay? This is already out in the news, and there's something really fishy going on here, okay? Because what this means is that everything that Bob Moore has done that's criminal, absolutely criminal, and then not answering back to us makes it extends onto and tell me if I'm right on this one. Um, I think that El Paso Community Foundation could be liable for what's going on at El Paso Matters. Okay, so we've reached out to the wrong person, out to El Paso Community Foundation, um, because they're the real owners of El Paso Matters. So, I already had a meme made. I think yesterday I woke up with this vision in my head of Bob Moore falling into the abyss of corruption, right? Of corruption, of witness tampering, of retaliation, of obstruction, of unreliable sources, of, just the lies and everything. And to be caught up in that vortex going into the deepest, darkest pit, with crying and gnashing of the teeth. you know, this is our news, right? This is fake news. This is not El Paso Matters. This is El Paso that has been used and abused and does not matter to him. But it seems like who really owns El Paso Matters is this El Paso Community Foundation. And this is really, and why do we concentrate on this? We concentrate on this because there's this false narrative that was disseminated into by the CID, by the Army command, that was used to go into the law enforcement agencies to stop the search for Richard. And, the media could change all of that. And yet, Bob Moore, and now he's participating with another group, more people in that group that have mental illness. I mean, I'm not saying that, I'm not passing judgment on people that have mental illness. I'm saying they say they have mental illness, and you want to rub shoulders and make sources with people that are not stable. I mean, that's not too smart for a news agency or a news reporter, or unless you're doing a story on it. But he's not doing that. He's using that group to wage more attacks and to spread more misinformation. And one of those misinformation is that there was no body cam footage of Richard Halliday on the 25th of January, 2020. And, that clearly is misinformation. That's not true. That's a lie. That's a total lie. We have the footage. It's almost 2 hours long, if not longer. And it absolutely shows Richard totally, totally with it, totally beautiful. And we've released a couple images. We'll release more, and we're hoping to release the video. So, but we have to analyze every little bit of it and take in consideration, um, the control of the Army leadership has a lot to answer for, and they need to be held accountable. They cannot just do this to our volunteer sons and daughters, what they have done to so many, including Richard. They just can't. And because Richard's case is connected to the Walmart mass shooting case, clearly, clearly, when you look at all the evidence, clearly his case is intertwined with the Walmart mass shooting case. And that means that the Army is intertwined with this is Fort Bliss leadership is intertwined with the Walmart mass shooting, and that Glendon Oakley Jr. Witnessed that there were M4s there, which are the military weapon, and that we have intelligence from the audit that, and that's what I was going to really talk about tonight was the audit. Um, these M4s, these M4s that were all over the place on August 3rd, 2019, which was the Walmart mass shooting. And we also have intelligence that brown tip bullets were at the scene. And this is very concerning because brown tip bullets are normally not registered because they are a special ops ammunition. Also, and we have a name of a gunsmith, and we are being told that through the intelligence, because we have intelligence on Fort Bliss, um, that people are sick and tired of this level of crime. There are whistleblowers everywhere right now. And we are being very transparent because we sure that everybody has a say so and is transparent so that the truth will stand. Because if everybody gives their testimony, the truth will stand. All the pieces together will fit perfectly when it's the truth. And with these weapons and gunsmiths being used to alter the weapons, either get rid of their serial number or turn them into semi-automatic to automatic weapons. To in my list, and I'm really meant to talk about that tonight, so I'll do that tomorrow. But what we're being told is they were altering the weapons, the M4s, and of course they were arms trafficking, and the multitudes, lots of it, truckloads, and also truckloads of ammunition. And for those weapons to be part of the Walmart mass shooting, and we know that Richard had a weapon that they wanted, that they wanted. I don't know if that was evidence because remember he had the sex videos that he turned in as evidence for the child protective service complaints that he made. He gathered evidence. Remember, Richard wanted to be CID. He wanted to be law enforcement. He spent, oh my gosh, hours every week studying, um, you know, solving cases. So he knew all about evidence, and there is even intelligence coming out about a notebook that he had, a notebook, and there is this intelligence coming out that he had a weapon, that was um, motive for them to harm him. Okay, so he absolutely was standing up to them. He was being very courageous, and I believe he even fought them. And I hope he did. I hope he did fight them. Um, and because, look what they did to him. Uh, just, it's, yeah, um, I'm sure I just can't even think about it, everything that they did to him. So, for the leadership has a lot to answer for, a lot to answer for, and I'm hoping and I'm praying that it will close down Fort Bliss. It's that serious. And this is from someone that was born at White Sands Missile Range, spent my whole life saying, go Army. I mean, just always being connected to the Army, being a dependent of the Army because my dad was in the Army. My husband was in the Army, being connected, um, trying to, I even have coins and medals for helping and serving um, as a spouse during all of the deployments and everything. Trying to help, and I did hear through intelligence that Brigadier General, and I think he's a Major General right now because he sold out his soul to the devil. Um, that Brigadier General, Major General David Stewart's wife was also trying to help find Richard Halliday. That she was trying to help with the cause. Um, but of course, the system is so cruel. The system, takes in J.R.R. Tolkien's um, view, uh, elves, very courageous, hardworking elves, and manipulates them, twists them, turns them into orcs, and I'm so sad um, that that David Stewart has turned into an orc. I'm so sad, and I don't know if there's some kind of way to undo um, what has happened, even to our flag officers. It really is sad. Um, I don't have any good memories of Sean Bernabe. He's an absolute criminal. He's a three-star general right now. He absolute criminal, needs to be stripped. No good memories. Trying to manipulate me. Um, Trying to convince me that the night of this setup of my son was was a good it was really a bad thing for Richard. Could have got 6 years in prison, 6 years in the brig. That's the garbage that they would tell us. That's the garbage that spewed from the mouth of a three-star general. And then you watch this video and you see Fort Bliss's finest, a beautiful young man with integrity, standing at attention, passing everything, totally with it. You have to look at, I hope to release it. It's so beautiful. And I'm going to try to release as many pictures. I did uh, get the approval, legal approval, um, to release pictures because this is a team fund, Richard Halliday, that we're very, very serious about getting accountability, getting getting accountability because so many of our sons and daughters, our volunteer sons and daughters, have been harmed by um, uh, by the leaders in our system. Okay, and it is absolutely a leadership problem because in the FBI, it's a leadership problem. It's Jesus Nieto Jr., right? Um, at the G3, it's a leadership problem, right? It's Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado with very powerful family members, very powerful. Um, then, of course, in the CID, Dirty Agent Marlon Soto. I mean, I know that the new CID agent in charge is Olga Morales, Special Agent Olga Morales. Everyone needs to focus on her, keep her feet to the fire, so to speak, so that she doesn't get twisted and turned into an orc, also like Marlon Soto. Um, well, Marlon Soto is just corrupt. And then, of course, in the intelligence there on Fort Bliss to have Cynthia Hernandez Nieto. Um, and then, of course, CID Donna Martin. Then, of course, you had McConville, General Mealy. General Mealy is totally needs to be in prison. Absolutely. I would say that the death penalty needs to be on the table, absolutely on the table for the damage that he has caused our country and our soldiers. The deaths, so many deaths. God help him. No, no, God, do not help him. Do not help him. Send him to hell. Send him to hell. I never thought that I'd ever say something like that. But these leaders and the damage and the pain and the deaths that they have caused and the treason against our country is so egregious. Um, and all on our dime, you know, all on our $1 trillion dimes, trillions, trillions. Um, and there's so much more. And here we're finding out that our media um, is not covering this, right? They're not covering this. Matter of fact, they're working against us also, which makes them. I mean, what does that make them? Does treason apply to the media? So, and who owns El Paso Matters? Because El Paso Matters directly came out with the unreliable sources. Lilani Hart, the mother of Richard's platoon leader, and Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, and her son, Thomas Hoffman, who targeted our son's uh, search and investigation. And so this is, uh, you know, it's clear that El Paso Matters does not have the best interest of our country, of our soldiers, of our security. And, so this is why we need you to um, share this, write letters. You through your contacts, you might have sheriffs, you might have police, you might have private investigators, you might have uh, uh, um, some kind of connection into with representatives that maybe, I don't know if there is there one good. I don't even know if there's one good. um, I really liked what Adam Morgan did in South Carolina the other day, and I know that William Timmons is up to no good, totally up to no good. He doesn't even respect family. He doesn't even respect marriage. He doesn't respect marriage at all. How can we have such a leader that doesn't respect marriage? And so, yeah, this is really where we're at um, with this El Paso Community Foundation. El Paso Community Foundation, um, and the connection. So we will talk about the audits. We will talk about El Paso Community Foundation. The information is coming in so fast that we're just having to put it out there for everyone to pass around and then get back to us and let us know what you know in El Paso about what's going on. So, and of course, about Richard's video that absolutely shows the exact opposite of what CID and the leadership in the Army was giving the law enforcement community. So, see, the false narrative was, it wasn't so important that it would go out to the community because the community doesn't really care so much. Okay? They really don't. They're too busy trying to make a living. They don't care so much. But those that were supposed to investigate Richard and prosecute the criminals in Richard's case, that's who they were giving false information to. That's who they were uh, trying to sabotage. And that's why this is so criminal. Okay, that, and of course, they sabotage Yvonne Rosales. That's a good example of her wanting to look into Richard's case and them going after her for that and the Walmart case. So, and Bob Moore participated in that. I mean, absolutely criminal. And so that means, if I'm not mistaken, that El Paso Community Foundation could be liable for what El Paso Matters, what Bob Moore of El Paso Matters has done there. So, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on. I know it's uh, a lot of facets tonight, but it's really important to address a media organization that has targeted our son's case to obstruct it, to stop it from moving forward. And they absolutely did that. So it's very important. And so this is huge breaking news that I don't think the public in El Paso really knows about, because I don't see it on El Paso Matters webpage that they are owned by the El Paso Community Foundation, the very foundation that was disseminating the funds, all the money that was coming in for the victims of the Walmart mass shooting through the West Star Bank, and then the victims get the bank accounts. I mean, uh, you know, ah, we'll have to look into it some more. But I think it sounds like, I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to look into it some more. And so we're reaching out to everybody to maybe clarify um, this whole situation. So thank you, everyone. God bless you. And Richard is still a Fort Bliss soldier. We were working on trying to verify all the statuses around Richard right now, and it is very interesting. And so we'll be reporting on that too. Um, so, because we're waiting for some meetings to come back with their findings, and there's just so much going on. So pray for us, and pray that um, we get accountability, because if we don't get accountability, so many others will suffer. So many others. Thank you. God bless you. Please share. Please like. Please comment. Good night, everyone. Bye bye.